Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the season finale / series finale of The Penguin. Fantastic finale. A lot of great things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So as I was just saying, I'll talk about it more at the end, but whether this is a season finale, series finale, I don't know. I'm going to label it as a series finale, but I can always change the title of this recording at any point in time, so it's not that big of a deal, but what a finale. Opening up the way we did, I love the juxtaposition, because me and so many others have thought, like, right, Oswald's relationship with his mom, it's like, right, we always knew he had a weird relationship with his mom, but we also thought, like, once again, it's the conversation of who made him the monster that he is, and Sophia kind of pointed that out, like, last episode. So, we're kind of and we've seen those points where it's like, oh, after his brothers died, she put a lot of pressure on him, and you're just like, oh, that's a lot to put on a kid. And once again, last episode, we're like, kind of a sociopath, he left his siblings to die. But now we find out this episode, she's known the entire time. And now it recontextualizes their entire relationship, because now you're like, oh, she did all that because she needed it. She used Oz as a loaded gun. Let me point you in a direction. In fact, she got that advice from Rex Calabrese. So he's the one that suggested that the moment she told her the truth. And I was like, how does she know? When did she figure it out? She found the flashlight because she knows her boys enough to know that place is where they go play flashlight tag. So him having that flashlight, why would he have that unless he was with his brothers? It's like that one little slip up. And for her, it's like he sat here and lied. Like he could have come to me at any point in time and we could have still saved them. That's what really broke her. It's not that her sons are dead. It's that your one baby boy left. Because I thought that was also the thing, like, right, you latched on to your one son that you had left in this world, but now you're like, nah, he sat here while his brothers drowned. Who does that, you know? And I thought that was such a beautiful reveal. Once again, the 1-2 punch of episode 7 and 8. That is crazy. I was like, I loved it. I was like, that's so good. Like I said, because it recontextualizes their entire dynamic. Because you're going through this knowing like she's known the entire time. And that becomes Rex's point, okay? So you have two options here. You can let that go. Like someone like Oz, which even his mom was like, I've always known he's always been very needy, and I just kind of accepted it. Now the question, I'm sure she beat herself up for so many years of, if I nipped that in the bud, if I did something about that, maybe my other two boys will still be alive type of situation, which I think is so fascinating. So I'm sure that there's a little bit of like guilt in that part, because that becomes that conversation too, like, you know, when your child goes off and does something terrible, are you as the parent responsible? In some cases you are, sometimes your child is just broken, but then it becomes a conversation of, well, she knew her child was broken, but it's like, did you really do anything about it? You just tried to be a mom who gave him as much love as possible, and it just wasn't enough. It seems like your other two boys seemed to turn out okay, just something was broken in Oz. You know, he just needed so much, and she tried to give him, but it just seemed like it might not have been enough. So we'll get to that, because we're definitely going to be continuing that conversation of when is enough love, you know? You know, so... but yeah, Rex gave her 2 points. It's like, hey, you could basically have him work for me. I could use a guy like Oz, because it's like, there's a whole, you know, buying of loyalty type of situation. But he's also saying, like, someone like Oz, he's the type of person that has like a missing father in his life, so you could fill that void, and that could be the thing. You're trying to fill that hole in his heart, and that love and that loyalty is priceless. Or you can make that go away. Because tying into like Rex's point, or that point I was just making, it's like you could take that, what your son's loyalty to you, Francis, and point him in whatever direction and get what you want, or we can make him go away. And she's like, are you willing to like be a part of something like that? And he is. So that night, once again, recontextualizing everything, the thing that got her out of bed was getting revenge, was going to like, yo, I'm going to put you down. And so she took them out to dance because she was going to put Oz down. But I think there's a little bit of that element of, regardless of it all, you are still my baby boy. And especially because you're promising me all of this. And it's like, it's easier to accept the devil you know. Because especially when that devil you know, your little Damien, your little... Because Damien's the name of the kid from The Omen, right? I don't know. I haven't watched The Omen enough to know that. I know the reference, but I'm like, I think that's the name of the child. Either way, you know, he's still your son, so there's probably some little tug of he might have killed my boys, but he's all I have. So it is this psychological thing of I treat you like shit, calling you all this because I'm trying to mold you. I'm trying to make you think I love you and pushing you to get what I want, because it is like some psychological warfare of like, yo, I'm going to make you suffer for doing what you're doing, but I'm going to pretend like I love you the entire time while I'm doing it. So, and he promises, he's like, yo, she never put that pressure on him. He put that pressure on, and especially like all that she said last episode when they were dancing, she didn't say that on her own volition. She was saying all that because Oz put that on himself. And now, I mean, you know, at the time, a lot of people, myself included, were like, well, he enjoys that pressure. He wants it, you know. But now it's like, now you recontextualize her kind of crying and being a little drunk and a little out of it. It's like, yeah, understandably knowing what she's knowing and what she's setting in motion. So we have all of that. We cut back to present day because it's like, right, this is how Julian and, because I wasn't sure what they were really going to, like, I was like, what is Julian and Sophia really going to get out of this situation with whatever information they could get from Francis? I was like, what can you really get out of this? And then lo and behold, they hit the mother lode. Now Oz is brought in, and now it's a thing of, yeah, you have to confront. And I love the whole soliloquy that that antidote that Sophia is saying, like, she's using birds, for example, Oz, the penguin, and it's just like, right, and Oz knew what she was doing, but he was like, yo, are you crazy? Like, this whole metaphor about birds, like, what's this on about? And it's like, tell your mom the truth. She's like, your mom's always known. She's always known what you did. Now, explain to your mom, like, why are you guys so afraid of the truth? Your mom's known what you've done for years, and yet she's never said anything to you. You've never said anything to her. It's like, how about we have a little open dialogue of truth? So she's doing her thing, the theatrics of, yo, I'm going to cut off your mom's finger like you cut off my brother's finger. And it's like, all you have to do is tell her the truth. And then what happens? It's like, Francis is like, yo, you bastard, like, just tell her the truth. I always known. And it's like, wait, what? And it's like, Oz is kind of like, no, you're confused, Mom. You don't know what you're talking about. She's like, I've always known. She's like, I've had enough love to give, Oz. And that's where I was bringing up the point earlier of, when is enough love enough love? And it's like, is there enough love for Oz? And it never was enough. It's like, I wanted you to myself. And it's like, you didn't have to kill your brothers. I've known what you've done, and I've always hated you. I've never loved you. And you're like, ooh, my God. Breaks a bottle and stabs Oz. I was like, yo. My immediate thought was like, yo, is Oz going to end up killing his mom? Like, he kind of has all the reason to later on, because especially the cards he's playing later on in the episode, I'm like, well, he's got to kill his mom because she's semi a loose end in a lot of ways. But, yeah, she ends up seeing her boys, and then she falls and passes out, you know? And it's like, Oz breaks free, guns blazing, shoots his way out. I love that cop who brought him in getting got. He's so busy getting high, and the camera angle, I'm like, yeah, he's about to get shot, and lo and behold, we see the bullet. Funny enough, don't go straight through his head. Of course, it goes through one of his eyes. Of course. So he gets away with Francis. So I'm like, yeah, Sophia bungled that, like, her need for, like, the grand theatrics, you know, typical comic book fashion. I mean, a lot of villainy has, you know, theatrics to it all, but obviously Sophia was trying to make a point. Like, the one thing that kept Oz going is, like, his relationship with his mom, and if you can break that, that was, like, the biggest middle finger you could do to Oz, like, turn his mom against him. So at the same time that's going down, we catch up with our boy Vic. Vic didn't run. Vic was actually going through it. It just took him a while to kind of rally everyone around him, and by the time he shows up, like, it's already going down, and he's looking for Oz, and it's like, damn, you know, and the other people he's working with bail out because they're like, yo, we're here for the product, not Oz. But for him, for Vic, it's like, no, what, you got no loyalty? The fact of the matter is, Oz is, like, the more important thing. The drug operation is the drug operation. That don't matter. It's like, yo, I was like, look at Vic being a first lieutenant, like a right-hand man. And you could tell, like, it really struck a chord, especially with Link punching him, being like, yo, you got to know your place before you catch a bullet. But it's like, yo, it's like what he's saying in this moment, this episode's so goddamn good, because it brings back the thing I thought it was going to do with the Gold Summon episode. Because I said it at the time. I was like, when you look at the camera angles, when you look at the right-hand people, the first lieutenants at that Gold Summit meeting, they were looking at each other because Oz's words kind of spoke to them more than it did their bosses. That's why I even said during that recording, I was like, I was expecting the right-hand men to all pop their bosses. Because I thought Oz was talking to them. But it's like, no, it seems like Oz was talking to the bosses, not realizing his words hit harder and meant more from people like Link, you know? So it is interesting because there's a lot. Well, we'll dive into it more, the whole conversation about Oz being a man of the people. So we have that angle to it. So, but yeah, Vic seems to be the only one that's loyal. He runs into Zeke, so it's at least one person that's alive from the crew. But it's like, well, they know Oz was running, so, but Vic never says anything later on, so I guess the general thing is like, oh, maybe Oz got caught up in the explosion. Maybe some people saw him running away and decided to run too, but it's like, you know, it seemed like Zeke might be the only one of the crew that survived. Who knows? Who knows if there's word going to spread about what Oz did? Because they might not blame him because it's like, nah, that was Sophia, which it really was. But they might not put it on him like, oh my God, Oz. Like maybe some of the people didn't see him running. They're like, yo, Oz, where you going? It's like, oh my God, it's a bomb, but it was already too late. I mean, it was only like less than 20 seconds on the clock by the time Oz saw the bomb. So I don't know. But Vic never brought it up, so I guess Zeke, if he's the only survivor, he doesn't know that Oz abandoned him, didn't say anything. It's like, well, what can you say in that moment, you know? It's kind of everyone for themselves type of situation. But yeah, Vic hears from Oz, goes to him, and kind of gives like this like big speech and pep talk because Oz is kind of like, I don't know what to do now. And it's like, yeah, like it's all over. They, of course, like we don't have Bliss. Of course, they're not going to have my loyalty. But like, it's like, no. You were the person. He's like, you should have like, he's like, you can speak to them. Like the fact of the matter is you are what's important. Like the fact is you took care of Crown Point. You gave people jobs. You got the lights back on. Bliss didn't do that. That was you. You are more valuable than the drugs. And I love Oz being like, you practiced that, didn't you? He's like, shut up. And I was like, oh, look at this moment. Yeah, the ending changes that a little bit. But I was like, all right. I was like, look at this. And it's just like, he's like, yeah, you got to project it a little bit more from your gut. But it's like, all right, we're gonna make our move. We're gonna go after Sophia, but we're gonna hit her sideways. So I was like, I thought we were going to go down the lieutenant routes like a Link and stuff, but which Sophia is talking to the big bosses, and it's like, okay, so I want to leave all this behind. I'm gonna leave. And you guys are going to have whatever I have left because I don't want this game anymore. I'm out of it. So you can have whatever you want. All you have to do is whoever's the first one to bring me Ozcob, you get it all. So Vic does later on get called by Link, and he's like, yo, there's a bounty on Oz's head. But I was like, I don't know which way Link's going to lean, but I'm thinking he's going to be on Oz's side. But I figured as much. So, but Oz dressed up. Going to like, I was like, oh, are we going down the Mayor Oz route? Which, you know, still could be an angle we go down later in this movie series or franchise. Who knows? But in that moment, him kind of being like behind Real's position and just kind of with the gavel and everything, and his councilman friend, oh boy, our boy Oz can web a weave and tell a story so well. And he's basically taking everything that was, he's like, yo, that drug operation to Bliss, it was a smart motherfucker. I was like, oh, here you're just gassing yourself up. Oh, Sal. It's like, yeah, like you look down there, you're going to find Maroni people. You're going to find Falcone people. Like, yes, you'll even find Sal's body. I was like, you bastard. Putting everything on Sal and even saying like, yo, you know, Sophia, she did all this. She was crazy, yada, yada, yada. And it's just like, oh, I was like, you fucking gaslighting piece of shit, throwing her under the bus yet again. And it's like, right, he's sprinkled to the councilman because he's like, yo, like you could be seen as a little bit of a hero. Not only did you take down the villain that blew up Crown Point, but you also, you know, you're the person that turned the lights back on. You're like, yeah, like you can take down this villain and be risen as a hero. And that could be a lot of political cachet. People will get to know your name. Councilman Hattie? It's like you could have your name out there. It's like all you have to do is, you know, let Sophia be the fall guy. And let me be the person that, put me in a room with some of these higher up people, including the mayor. So it's like, all right, so that's where things kind of stand on that point. And he's like, yeah, your record's going to have to be clean. The moment it's like you have to be clean because Rio is going full. She's going full cleaning house, like getting rid of any corruption from top to bottom and getting rid of any connections to Falcone. You yourself have one, so that's going to come up. But then, like, I started thinking, like, this means his mom's got to go. I was like, it might be the thing that Oz ended up having to kill his mom just to, like, protect his future. That's what I thought. But when it's all said and done, like, the Link situation happens, and, because I was like to say, like, you can't have, I was like, right, you got to present yourself to the world a certain way in the vein of, like, yeah, I'm Oz Cobb. I came from the streets. I worked my way up. I'm like everyone else. I'm the, I'm the working man's man type of thing of, like, I look out for the working class people because I am like you. I worked. I hustled my way up. I mean, it's easy to spin that whole situation with the Falcone of it all. It's like, I worked at the Iceberg Lounge. I kept my head down. I didn't know what Carmine and them were up to. Yeah, I was just a lowly driver. I worked my way up. That's about it, because there's nothing that directly connects him with anything, because he kind of basically shifted a lot of stuff that would fall on him to Sophia. But putting all that aside, we also had the situation of Sophia burning the house down. It's so interesting because, like, when it came to the whole situation when she killed the Falcones, I love that initially, like, I remember someone saying, like, they thought she was going to burn the house down, and lo and behold, now she's burning the house down. It's like she's burning the past. She's leaving it all in the past. So she shows up at the airport. I was like, this is not going to go. She's thinking it's a victory lap. I'm like, it's not going to be what you think it is. And in that moment, pow, 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 Vic strapped, Link pops Zhao, and then it's like, oh, Sophia did not go the way you wanted to. Let's go take a drive. And him driving in the seat being like, oh, like, hey, it's kind of like old times, isn't it? I was like, wow. And even she's just kind of like, yeah, her, like, if she could have walked away before now, but just kind of like Oz can't walk away, she couldn't either. It's like she needed to, like, burn destroy everything. And the last remaining piece to this puzzle was Oz. I mean, once again, this is the man that's responsible for you. You can't really get back at your dad, so the second best thing you can do is go after Oz, especially knowing he killed your brother, the only person in the world that was on your side. So there's that. So we have that angle of it. But then we have, like, it's just like after everything you've done, you can't just get away with it. It's not fair for you to get away from it because you weren't an innocent person. And yes, I'm not innocent anymore, but I was an innocent person that got turned into a monster. So, and you yourself, as we found out from a very young age, you were a monster. So, but yeah, Oz is talking about, like, because she's like, how did you convince Link? He's like, I kind of didn't. Like, the fact of the matter is, Link is just like me. Like, he just was looking for his shot. And then we proceed to see every other boss from the Gold Summit that they were mixed up with, the lieutenant right hand, pop them, because he's bringing the whole point of, like, right, all these people, these people all had boots on their throats, looking up, waiting for that boot to be removed for that person on top to see them. And, and then Sophia's like, here you are. Oh, you're the man of the people, right? And he's like, yeah, I am. And because she's like, yeah, people like you will never know. You've always had your plate full. You've never known what it's like to starve. And then Sophia's just like, right, so you think I am one of those people? And it's like, I can see his perspective on why she is amongst them, because you lived that comfy life for so long. But obviously, it's like, how are you going to say that to me after everything I've been through? So it's like, I could see both sides of perspectives. I lean more towards Finley, obviously way more sympathetic towards Sophia. Of like, yeah, you might have been a rich kid who lived this life and took advantage of it. You might not have known all the dark secrets about your father, but you had an idea. You were perfectly fine taking over the family when the opportunity was going to rise. Maybe you were going to change things, maybe not, but you were comfortable being your father's successor. Before it's like, well, you found out the truth. That's the only, like, if you had never found out the truth, nothing would have changed. Everything would have just kept being copacetic. It would have just been the status quo. So, yeah, he takes her to a place. I was thinking, like, there's no way he's going to, like, drop her off at Arkham or something like that, right? I was like, I don't think he would. I was like, oh, is he about to pop her? And she's up there saying like, right, how's your mom? Like, did she finally tell you that she loves you? And he's like, yeah, a sick person like you're going to rot in hell. And she's like, I'll save a seat for you. And then I was like, man, he's really going to do it. And lo and behold, Sophia didn't die. In fact, probably worse, she's getting tossed into Arkham. I was like, fuck me again. And even she's like looking at herself like, again? No way. No way this motherfucker is helping get me tossed in Arkham. Because I figured as much. Like, right, she's the fall guy, so you can easily have her killed, but it is a thing of it's easier to keep her alive. Because for one, you want to make her suffer for everything that she's done. So the best way is that she's literally only been out of Arkham because we don't know how long, like, once again, the show starts like a week after the floods, but like I don't know whether it's been like, I mean, because like Rio's like her arm is still messed up because she's got it in a sling, so it's probably still been only a couple weeks because it did start snowing and we do see snow in the ground. So, and I think the second movie is picking up in December, so it's like maybe it's been over like it's definitely only been like a couple weeks at most, maybe like 2-3 weeks at most, maybe. So either way, maybe that it probably was around Thanksgiving time, considering like the family get together. I mean, that could just been a general family get together, but that might have been a Thanksgiving dinner type of situation. Either way, I was like, no shot. Everyone, I was like, yo, my bingo board was wrong. I was like, yo, Vic is alive, and like Penguin's like super loyal to him. Sophia's alive. I was shocked. I was so certain. It's like, there's no way they're gonna keep Sophia around. I want Kristen Milioti around. Like, I hope she shows up in the Batman Part 2. Like, everyone wanted that, but I was like, there's no shot she's going to be. And she's still alive. I was like, she's just in Arkham. I was like, hey, yo, that thread could be pulled at any point. That's also the sad thing, too. She is really not the Hangman, but now she has to, like, she's still, like, even in the news, like, oh, the Hangman arrested for all this. It's like, that's so interesting. Because in the comics, apparently, once again, you're talking from someone who's not knowledgeable, but you pick stuff up because I listen to enough people who are comic savvy. She is the Hangman in the comics. I think she just legitimately is the Hangman. So now they took that and twisted it by being like, no, she's not the Hangman. Her dad was the Hangman, but like there's no one to corroborate that. So it's like a thing of, hey, well, there is, but it is what it is. I was about to say Oz is the person who threw her under the bus twice. It's the one person that knows she didn't do it and that wasn't her, but he never admitted. It's just digging that knife deeper and deeper and deeper, and just those scars and that pain, and yeah. So her chance to be free is gone in a bird metaphor sense. Her wings have sadly been clipped in a lot of ways, but yeah, like I said, she holds the mantle of the Hangman, even though she really isn't this continuity's Hangman. And then Oz shows up to his mom, but she's in a not catatonic, but a vegetative state because she sadly had a stroke. We never get an answer to this. My immediate thought is that later on in the episode, we were going to find out he did something to his mom. Because like I said, he needs to remove his mom so she doesn't go around. She has her dementia. She's too much of a threat because, like, hey, that could be a situation of she could end up being used, like, especially because she hates Oz's guts, so she could be used against him in a lot of ways, just like with the Sophia situation. So, but he's up there he's like, well, all he needs is like, tell me you're proud of me, Ma. Look at all I did. I did this for you. It's like, you did it for you, and you used it in the guise of you did it for your mom. Hey, maybe Oz is so fucked up, he legitimately does believe everything he's ever done has been for the sake of his mom. It's like, it's been for the sake of your mom's love towards you, but, I think there is a very important distinction there, and I guess we'll never really know. I'm still leaning towards, like, no, you did it for your mom's love. It was never about her. You convinced yourself, because you can lie to yourself so easy. I mean, it's like, hey, if you can lie to yourself like that, it makes it lying to other. That's why lying comes like second nature to him, because he's lived a lie his entire life. I'd actually even questioned at one point, I was like, you don't think he has something to do with Rex's death? But it's like, no, he's like, Rex just dropped dead. But it's like, well, we know like a lot of stuff that Oz told us over the course of the series has been a bold-faced lie, so you never know. But it's like, yeah, he never knew that Rex was going to kill him that night. In fact, that Francis ordered it, was kind of okay with it until she changed her mind. So I guess that's something where it's like, hey, you might have hated my guts, Mom. You might have wanted to try and kill me, but you didn't. You stayed by my side. But it's like, yeah, but it depends on if you want to ignore the fact that she's hated your guts for decades and was just using and manipulating you just to kind of do something with that to make something out of you. So there's a lot there. So it is kind of sad at the end of the day. You're kind of like, okay, so Oz like apparently had nothing to do with it, but now it's still the thing of she's stuck inside her own body until she passes away. And what did she ask Oz to do? She never wanted to. She's like, if my mind goes before my body does, and it's like, he could do her the services of like, he won't do it because he does twistedly love his mom. He is obsessed with her, and it's like he doesn't want to let her go, so he can't even give her like peace. I mean, once again, let me know in the comments if he's like this in the comics, but like a lot of iterations I've seen has made it so that Oz is obsessed with his mom. Like a great example I would think of would be like the version of him in the TV show Gotham. There were similarities in that regard, like his obsession with his mom in that capacity. So I don't know. That was my thought about it, but it seems like everything's coming up Oswald, because I was like, well, we got enough time left in this episode, so where this is going to go. And him, Oz, and Vic sitting down, I'm like, wow, just having that moment of just him be like, do you think my mom forgave me? He's like, for what? And Oz is like, I don't know, for a lot of things. It's like, yeah, there's one specific thing you're talking about. But it's like, yeah, he's like, thanks for taking a chance on me, Oz. Like, I know your mom would be proud of you. Like, look at all that you accomplished. And he's like, you're like family to me, because they're both thinking. He's like, I'm thinking about my brothers. Vic is thinking about his parents and his family, and it's like, yeah, and it's like, I was like, okay, good. I was like, well, Julian's still out there, so shouldn't we be concerned about him? So I thought something might have happened to Vic in that moment, but it's like the moment the conversation is going down, I was like, no. I was like, what? I was like, this is just getting weird. I'm getting uncomfortable, and Oz ends up killing Vic. I was like, fuck. I was so certain. The entire season I've been like, Vic's gonna die. Vic's gonna die. Oz is gonna kill Vic. And then lo and behold, he still does it. But it's like the moment he's like, oh, we're family. It's like, don't say that. Because we know what Oz is willing to do to family, his own flesh and blood. But it's like, yeah, he does like the kid, because it's like, yo, you're a lot like me. But for him, it's like, I've already seen, like, I've had weaknesses before, and that was his mind. He saw how that could get used against him. And it's also like, right, he's got to clean house a little too. Vic has been by his side. Vic is the only other person that knows everything. He's been a part of, by Oz's side the entire way. You're like, damn, because I was so happy. I was like, yo, Vic, more so for Renzi. I'm like, yo, Renzi's going to be in the Batman part. Never mind. I was like, I deluded myself for a minute there, because I was like, hey, everyone's still alive. Ma's still alive. Sophia's still alive. Vic. They were on everyone's bingo card of not making it out of this series. And I'm like, yo, Vic's still alive. I'm like, okay, Renzi, you're going to be in the Batman part 2. Because during interviews, he's made it clear, like, I don't know, maybe I'd love to be, knowing exactly how this, because he's seen the entire show, so he knew how, you've read the scripts too, but he's seen the show, so he knew, like, where things were going to go. And I was like, fuck me. That sucks. I was like, Vic. It's like, you should have left in episode 3 with Graciela when you had the opportunity to. It is a sad thing of he had those ambitions in him just like Oz. But it's like, you put so much trust, and that's the thing, you put so much trust and faith. He's like, yo, I didn't even see that Link situation coming, and you did. You spoke to Link, and you did a lot of good for me, kid. But once again, you are a weakness to me, just like my mom was. Like, he made sure, like, hey, my mom cannot. That's why he told people, specifically Sophia, but probably told other people his mom was dead. And now, but Vic is the one person that knows the truth all across the board. And it's like, you got to go. It's like, you got a good heart, kid. And it's like, that's the sad thing. He did. And it's just, yeah, if you had walked away when you had the chance, you should have, but it's like he had ambitions. It's like, he wanted more than his father. What Oz said in episode 3 of like, yeah, your dad was an engineer, but it's like, yeah, living an honest life don't do you any good. Living a crooked one doesn't either, but at least you could die kind of with a good conscience. But now it's like, yeah, you've done a lot of terrible things. You've killed people. You've done this. You've done that. So, and was it all worth it in the end? And it's like, yeah. Oz, it's like, yeah, he feels bad for a moment. It's like, it sucks. Makes it look like a robbery and just leaves him. I was like, fuck, man. That's so sad for that to play out that way. I was like, damn, that's such a gut punch. Then we have the situation with Sophia. I was like, damn, back in Arkham. But Julian is working here now. And it's like, okay. So it's like, right, his way of staying close to her, making sure nothing happens to her in Arkham. It's like, I failed you before. I won't fail you again. But it's like, yeah, I got all this mail for you. Rants, poems, marriage proposals. Because there are people who's like, yo. I mean, generally speaking, people have always been like, it's kind of a running joke of like, I could save her. I could fix her because Christine Milioti is like extremely beautiful and sexy. So it's just kind of like, no duh. But it's like, you're kind of like, I get it. I get it. I'm not going to fault anyone for the marriage proposals, but, that is that thing of, like, people, like, oh, I love you, and serial killers and stuff like that, especially if you're hot enough, and let's face it, Sophia, more so Kristen Milioti is extremely, extremely beautiful and sexy. Did I mention how beautiful and sexy she is? But yeah, But then what I wasn't expecting was also a letter from Selena Kyle. It's like, your half-sister. It's like, yo! So we're connecting the dots here. It makes sense. I wonder, she doesn't know. She doesn't know about, like, Sophia killing the entire Falcone family. She's got no love for the Falcones. It's like her dad was a piece of shit. They both know that. And so I'm wondering what was in that letter. So that does mean in any future connects, because we don't know if Selena's going to be in part 2 with the Batman, but that could be something like her relationship with that could be the one thing keeping her going, where it's like, yo, like, we both never really fit in this family in a lot of ways. We were kind of outsiders. So it's like, right, having someone else, especially having lost her brother, now having like, oh, I got a sister out there. Like, that is some glimmer of hope. Now, I don't know if Selena's going to do anything on that front. Like, obviously, she's connected to... I actually don't remember. I believe... Yeah, because Selena knows he's Batman. I haven't seen the movie since it originally came out in theaters, so I'm like, I believe like Sophia knows Bruce is Batman in his continuity, right? I believe so, because once again, sometimes there's that cat and mouse of them not knowing, but I believe she does know in this continuity, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not. I don't think she does know. Now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, I'm like, I actually don't think she does know. Like I said, I don't remember. Correct me in the comments down below, but I'm kind of thinking now, I'm like, no, I don't think she does remember. I don't think she knows that that's Bruce under there. But either way, because I was about to say, if she did, she could probably use some of his resources to maybe, like, remedy her sister's situation. I don't know. But at least, like, Sophia has some glimmer of hope. But also, like, yo, Sophia's still alive. The Hangman, but let's not put that on her. Sophia Falcone Gigante is still in play. So that's awesome. So we'll see where things kind of go on that front. But, yeah, we have the ending being that Oz came out on top. You killed a lot of people, you did a lot, you threw a lot of people under the bus, but yeah, you're powerful, you got that position, you got that high-rise place overlooking the city, and it's like, oh, you got your ma with you, and it's like, see, ma, I did it all, and then you see that tear rolling down her face, where it's like, once again, she's stuck in this literal hell with her son, this monster, And so what does he do? He has Eve, which I was like, oh, I guess we're never going to circle back to the Eve. Oh, never mind, there's Eve. I was like, well, I guess Oz is never going to know that she sold him out to Sophia back in episode 6. I believe that was episode 6. Yeah. So, and what does he do? He has her dress up like his mom. And it's like, yo, tell me that. The gig's the gig, right? So she plays into it. But it's interesting because we know that she knows Sophia is not the Hangman. She doesn't know what part Oswald played in all this, but she does know, like, hey, you knew who the Hangman really was. Maybe you did help clean up some of the bodies. I don't know. But it's still the thing of, you know who Oz really is, but you're willing to play the role because you're doing whatever you... Once again, not good, no evil. It's just about survival. So, and she gave Sophia her shot. She's like, everyone deserves their shot. And Sophia had her shot and she missed. So, it is what it is. And so it's like, once again, her dressing like his mom is like, that's disgusting. That's all kinds of sick. Like, I know mommy issues, like, to the crazy degree, but still. But like, you know, it's not like Eve is like feeling it, like, oh, my love and stuff. It's just like she's playing the role she's playing. It's like, it's kind of the same thing where it's like, I know you've known, like, those girls that were killed by the hangman were people I knew, they were friends, and you've known the truth, and you've had the audacity to lay by my side. So it's like, cool, I'm just gonna play my role just so I can survive, but it is what it is. So Oz will go on not knowing the truth about Eve. But it's like, yeah, I'm on top. Like, nothing can stand in my way. Zoom out, and I was like, are we going to see, like, Batman? And they never lied. They didn't lie to us. They were like, there wasn't going to be a Batman in this. And they weren't. I still was halfway expecting. I'm like, are we going to get, like, a Robert Pattinson? Like, he's not Batman, but he's, like, you know, he's Bruce Wayne in it up or something like that. But no. But we got the moment he says, like, okay, we're not. I thought, like I said, we're going to zoom out. We're going to see, like, the cowl or something. But it's like, no. But lo and behold, the bat signal flares into the sky. I was like, dope. I was like, all right, you got me. So they didn't lie. You know what? It's also interesting too, because I said the word cow, which sounds like owl. I'm going somewhere with this. Initially, when she got that letter from Selena, I was like, you don't think that's going to have something to do with the Court of Owls, like reaching out to Sophia or something like that? Because, once again, the rumors, I don't know if there's been no confirmation, but the rumors is that the Batman Part 2 is going to deal with the Court of Owls. So I was wondering if that was them reaching out to her before. It's like, oh, no, it's Selena. So I was like, oh, that's dope. But that was immediately where my mind went. But so I didn't want to end this before getting to that. So fascinating finale. Like I said, it's unclear. The rumors and murmurings of, hey, is this going to be the season finale or series finale is unclear. You know, I don't know if this is going to be like a Watchmen situation. Like, I mean, Damon Lindelof like walked away being like, I did the story I wanted to tell. Like, if anyone else wanted to pick it up. So it's like, I think the show did really, really well. And it was like, right. So this show is kind of in that same boat where it's like, hey, it's been very successful. There's all been these talks and rumors about future projects about, like, in this, what was it? The Epic Crime Saga. It's the name of Matt Reeves' Batman universe. So I don't know. Maybe we'll get something else in the pipeline between part 2 and 3. There was the rumors about the Joker thing, but James Gunn has subsequently shut that down, so we don't know. There's also been the conversations of, well, there was the GCPD show and the Arkham show that were a go at one point in time, but they've simmered. But maybe there's like, those weren't completely canceled. Maybe they've just been reworked and changed a little. So a lot of stuff is up in the air, but we definitely know we're getting at least a part 2, because I think, like, Matt Reeves turned in his script a while back. I think that they're not starting production until, like, the beginning of next year, early next year, I think, or something like that. Either way, so we don't know where things stand. We don't even know if, like I said, if this is going to be a season finale, series finale. Like I said, I'm going to label it as a series finale for now, but it's the title. I can always change it later. So, but there's room for a part 2, but it's also a season 2, but it's also like, right, we have to see where Oz's story takes him in the Batman part 2, what role he plays, and how much, like, obviously this is going to be like background work that carries over, but like to what extent, how much of like this is going to play into things. There's been a conversation about, like, well, why haven't we seen Batman in his continuity? It's like, well, once again, he might be a little superhuman, but he also might be like, like, he has been investigating things, we just haven't seen it. And also, because, you know, as we saw with Bruce, he also hid himself a lot, like the bike and helmet, like he kind of blends in with the crowd, like when he's investigating, not as bad. Because basically in the Batman, he was always Batman. He was never Bruce Wayne, because he hadn't really built up the persona of Bruce Wayne yet. So he's just stuck in Batman mode even when he's out and about as Bruce Wayne, you know. So he could have been, we could always find out later on, like, oh, we get a different point of view where it's like, well, the entirety of the Penguin series was happening. Bruce was investigating. He just might not have been out and about as Batman, or maybe he was and we just never got to see it. So, I don't know, man. Because some people had also brought up, like, right, where the movie had ended previously, he might be recovering from the shotgun he took to the stomach or chest or whatever, like, at the end of the Batman, so he could still be up recovering. As we saw with, like, Riel, like, her arm is still jacked up, so it's like, you know, same thing could be for Bruce's case, but yeah, Alfred could be forcing him to kind of take a step back or something like that. So that's where my mind is with all of this. So hell of a finale. If this ends up being all that we get and got from this, stellar from top to bottom, beginning to end. This was so fucking good. Everyone just nailed it and killed it all across the board in this show. Such fantastic story, twists, turns, recontextualizing so much stuff. It is so damn good. So, like I said, I'd be fine with it if we got a season 2. I'd also be perfectly fine if we never got another season of this. Once again, it just depends on the necessity of it all and stuff like that. If this is all we get, I wish everyone involved with the show, in front of the camera, behind the camera, all the entire crew, the best in their future endeavors if this is all we get. At least in the form of the TV show front, because once again, hopefully some of the team, whether it's some of the writers, whether it's or like some of these actors popping up in the Batman Part 2 or continuing on in the Batman movies in general. Because I know like one of the head writers of this, and she's also the showrunner, I think, is it Lauren Frank? She's talked about, like, you know, she likes this universe, so she'd love to play in the sandbox more. So it doesn't necessarily just have to be Penguin-wise, but she could end up, you know, getting access to do this for some other character type of situation. You know, hopefully she has an opportunity for that, because I think her and the other writers and all the directors on this have done such a fantastic job with this show. And like I said, just a lot of praise from top to bottom for everyone involved in this project. So. But yeah, I'm going to end things there because I've been running my mouth for a while now. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.